All right, we on Startup Central aim to celebrate women entrepreneurs, those who have shattered the barriers and are an inspiration, creating impact-focused businesses. And one such person is Yamini Bhat. She's the co-founder and CEO at Vymo, which is a sales engagement platform for financial institutions. It was started in the year 2013, and let's understand a little bit more about her dream for creating opportunities for engineers within the country, the growth plans, and how she juggles it all. Yamini, thanks so much for taking time out. To begin with, I understand that you actually had a child at the same time as you started Vymo. That must have been quite challenging. How was it?
So I think in terms of when I started Vymo, prior to this, I used to work at McKinsey as a consultant. So 5 years into that, I felt the entrepreneurship bug, thought of a lot of ideas. What was most relevant was stuff I learned to be core customer issues through my consulting work, and how do we solve them through tech? Because I am a computer science major by my background. And that was one way to solve sales productivity as an issue in a replicable, scalable way. That's what I learned across multiple customers, right? So that's a history on why and how we started the company. I started with it with a batchmate of mine from BITS Pilani times, Venkat, who became the CTO and CPO. In terms of starting the journey around the same time as I was having my first child, I don't think anyone tells you how, or maybe they try to tell you, maybe you don't get it, about how tough, actually running a company or even starting a company in early stages can be. And at the same time, on how tough it is to really raise a young baby, right? Both of them are things you, like, there are layers to the onion, you peel them as you go, and you just have to take it one day at a time. It was an honest surprise, but also I truly think that it made sure that I, forced less ambiguity, trained a lot of people, and built and acted on building a culture where folks could take decisions even if I wasn't in the room or the founders weren't in the room. Many of those practices are what helped us really as we started hitting scale. We have a team that has as much customer obsession as Venkat or I do. Right. For example, as much integrity as we do, right? And some of these things happened because we had back against the wall the need to do these very early on.
Right, and you've also led multiple sales transformation programs across the likes of McKinsey, and then went on to start off on your own. Give us a sense as to all the experience that you garnered and what made you venture out and start your own company.
Yeah. So most of my work at McKinsey was focused on sales transformation with large enterprises. Many of them were financial institutions. I've done this kind of work both in India as well as the US. Many of these the simple question was, how can our sales teams do more, right? And these sales teams are distributed all across the geography, all across the country. They're operating remotely. There is a high level of attrition within this workforce. They're very motivated by things like commissions and their earnings. But when a team is that fragmented and distributed, it's very tough to coach and enable them to be perfect and A+ on every single skill set that they need, right? And most of the managers habitually manage them through activity, which is, what have you done today? What are you going to do tomorrow? Or just outcomes, plain outcomes, right? But enablement is very broken. Across many such organizations, when we tried to deploy tools like CRM, the typical pushback we got was, hey, I know what this does for the company, why I should be updating data, but truly it doesn't help me. What is in it for me, right? There was a lot of pushback on tech adoption here. So the intent was that we would build something that truly helps these folks sell more, which is their primary goal of being in the role, and get better every single day. It helps them do more within less time, which is how they want to run their days, right? And we also saw a lot of money going. I mean, if many such customers are paying consultants millions of dollars to solve this problem, there's clearly money on the table. And the larger the organization, the more aggressive its growth. If it's number 1, 2, 3 in any market, it's more hungry for growth all the time, right? And the larger the teams they have, the bigger the need for driving sales productivity and consistency in best practices is, right? So we felt that technology was the right way, except that this technology cannot be the typical enterprise top-down push. It has to be something that end users would love to use, right? And that was the birth of Vymo. Vymo helps. Vymo is a personal sales coach for every seller who's out in the field in front of customers all day. It helps them do more. It helps them earn more. And we had to challenge the fundamental design principles of how these tools were built to ensure that kind of love and adoption amongst end users. Even till date, one of the numbers we are extremely proud of is that our NPS score is about 61. Average software NPS is 23, SaaS NPS is about 30 to 35, and Vymo is at 61. There are probably less than 5 companies in the world which do better than that on tech.
And I understand that it's also under your leadership that Vymo has doubled in revenue on a year-on-year basis in the consequent years, despite the pandemic. What has led to this revenue growth? What is the outlook as well on the net revenue retention?
Yeah. So in general, Vymo continues to be on a growth trajectory. For us, some of the fastest growth levers have been actually expanding across multiple financial services verticals. So we went from insurance to banking to lending to collections, right? So we've expanded our portfolio across different financial services. We stayed within financial services as a space by itself. And then over the last 3 years, aggressively gone across multiple geographies. So we have presence in multiple markets in Southeast Asia and even Japan. Being one of our most recent additions, and the US, right? We have won customers, some of the top tier customers in many of these markets. We work with, for example, the likes of HDFC Bank, SBI Life, etc. In India, we work with the likes of Tokyo Marine and Sumitomo Life, which are amongst the top 3 financial institutions there. In Japan, we work with AIA and Manulife in Asia. We work with insurers like Berkshire Hathaway in the US. These have been many levers of expansion for us. And also what's been interesting is every year while we've added new markets and many customers, the average contract value with our customers has grown by between 30 to 50% year on year, right? So customers have also started when we were much younger and the product was a much smaller fraction of what we do today. Right? We had onboarded many of these customers, and as we've grown in terms of product depth, as well as our expertise in how we do this, our customers have also significantly grown with us. One of the facts that we take extreme pride on,
right,
and is also the fact that outside of general industry disrupt that happened during COVID, in general, we've not lost a customer, and some of our customers who have taken calls to build rather than buy, etc., have come back to us over time. That's a matter of huge pride for us.
Given that, Vymo is one of the few Indian SaaS companies that has scaled to more than $10 million in ARR with just Indian enterprises as the clients, what is the outlook on that metric and how are you looking at your daily active user base?
Yeah, so we're more than double of that. In terms of our active users, average customer of Vymo has between 5 to 10,000 users, and we serve several of these organizations. So today, Vymo is used by almost 400,000 users, which is a little less than 500,000 users across the world, and supports users across more than, I believe, 10 different languages. And I don't mean vernacular languages within India, but languages like Japanese, French, etc., outside of English, right? In terms of outlook for us, we're still very young, I would say. The market is huge. Just in terms of sales productivity or distribution management for only insurance and banking as 2 verticals, even within financial services, if you take that, that's nearly a 5 to 7 billion market around the world. And this as a category is extremely, extremely new, which is being able to seller productivity and seller behavior change, right? And it's a category that's going to take over the whole CRM and Salesforce automation space, which are more of the legacy categories here, right? So there is huge upside. We can easily see the path to grow 20 times from here with just the markets that we serve today and just the product contours that we have today. So heads down, focus on execution is what is where we are at this moment in time.
Sure, and Yamini, what's been the biggest playbook when it comes to growth for the company? Investing in talent, I think, is something that you lean on.
Yeah. Over time, we figured out. So there are many, obviously, there are many axes for growth, right? You expand the product, you expand the geographies you're serving. So these are all the known categories. One of the things that Venkat and I firmly believe in and has really helped us, uh, not just in growth, but being able to enjoy the growth as a team and as a company is the kind of team that we build, right? Every single talent that we bring onto the team, we believe should be better than us at any of the functions that we hire into, right? Which means we constantly get to learn. And as long as we are open minded about learning from those we hire and then using that to generally increase the average performance of the team, we're constantly growing. So, talent, investing in the talent, building the right culture so they can make decisions in your absence, being able to support them. And also, many times, support them when they fail, when they're experimenting, because experiments are crucial for you to learn what's going to really work for you, right? Those have been very strong pillars of how we have grown. And I truly believe at some point after the initial, product market fit and growth levers kicking in, I think what truly differentiates an organization from competition is the team, right? Your team could be your competitive advantage.
And you've got a number of investors on board, the likes of Sequoia, as well as Emergence Capital. What has been the total fundraise that you have undertaken, and will you look at further fundraising, and what's the long-term growth plan?
In general, tech has been a little slow, but we are somewhere in the top 90%, 80 to 90 percentile in terms of growth that we've seen across the board. So we are expecting to double potentially every 2 years or so at the current growth rate. There is a huge focus on profitability at this point in time as we are hitting scale and as we are settling down in many of the new markets. So that's another major focus area.
Sure, good to have you on board. Thanks so very much for joining in.